Hi, I'm Gene, and for a long time, probably at least a couple years, I have been using my Milwaukee portable table saw. And the word portable, not so much. The thing weighs over 40 pounds, and I keep it underneath my bench. And it's a lot of pulling this thing out, setting it up, and today I'm going to build a small stand for it. So let's get started. Now the stand is going to be able to, if I want to roll it outside to work, it can do that. Or if I want to roll it up to this workbench, I can do that. It'd be the same height, giving me a nice big table saw work area. So I'm excited to get started with this. So from the floor up, we know that this is 36 inches. Okay, so we know the table saw is going to be 12 inches tall. So I know I'm going to be using 4 casters like this, so I can pretty much count on they're going to be 2 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so basically we know that the workbench is from floor to top of the bench 36 inches, right? Now we know the bench we're going to make, the caster, is 2 3/4 of an inch, and we know the table saw is going to be 12 inches. So that leaves from here to here. That's going to mean the stand itself is going to have to be 21 3/4 of an inch tall. So the table saw itself is roughly 22 inches, but if I add on the gauge, now I'm at 25 inches. My bench just happens to be 25 1/4, so I've got plenty of room to spare, or not plenty, I got a 1/4 inch to spare on that. But now the base that this sits on is 22 1/2, so I'm going to go 23 by 17. Now I'm going to use some of the scrap I have around the shop because it's not a huge project. But one of the things, I'm going to start with the 2x4, but I'm going to rip this 2x4 down to about 3 inches and then cut it in half and laminate it together so that I can make basically like a 3x3 post. And I'm going to do 2 2x4s done this way, and you can either just glue them together and put screws in it, or you could sand them down after. But I think by doing this, one, it's going to clean up all of this crap that seems to come on all 2x4s these days. Okay, so now I'm going to cut 4 of these at 23 inches. Okay, so I jumped into this a little quickly, and I forgot to subtract 3 inches because of the thickness of the wood. So on these 23-inch pieces, I'm going to cut these down to 20 inches. Okay, well, now I can pull these off. Okay, so now this is ready to use. You could either just sand this down a little bit using either an orbital or even a belt sander, or if you have a planer, you could plane this. I think I'm going to plane it, but you can do it either way. Now,
I don't think I'm going to glue this together. I'm just going to screw these down because if for some reason I need to move something, I can, and I think using long enough grabbers, that's not going to be an issue for me. I'm going to grab the grabbers. This one screws. So I have this and this, correct? So remember how I said I wasn't going to use glue on these joints just in case? Well, it's a good thing because I did these boards backwards. This should be the total length 17 and this board backing into it. So I've got to take all of this apart and redo this configuration. Durr.
Well, you know, someone once said, why do it right when you can do it over?
Now I'm going to put some dark stain on this, and I'll start by putting it on the inside so that I can get to everything. So I let this set up overnight, and I forgot one thing. When you stain it with this, you're supposed to come back with it in about 10 to 20 minutes with a rag and wipe it down. And I forgot, and I left it overnight. So now, the next day, 24 hours later, in fact, it's sticky. So how do I fix this? Well, I'm not totally sure, but I think my first option is going to be I'm going to literally restain it again, but this time when I stain it on, I'm going to wipe it back off. Let's see how this goes. And I think I might start with, well, I'll go ahead and start with this side here just to demonstrate and see if it's going to work. And this time I'm going to apply it with a rag and see if that will. Okay, then I'm going to come back with the rag now and see if I can just come. Okay, well, it's taken some of that color off, but that's okay. It's all right. I think that might work. Yeah, you can actually see the grain coming back out that was hiding. I like this. Because according to the label, this is supposed to dry 3 times faster, and you could recoat within like an hour or 2 hours. But by not wiping it off, it was still tacky as all get out. I want to give a shout out to my friends at Wimp Coffee. Yeah, I said Wimp Coffee. This is some of the best decaf. In fact, I wouldn't think I was drinking decaf. This stuff is so good. So if you get a chance, check them out. They're at wimpdecaf.com and pick up a bag. Thanks. Okay, I put a clear coat on this and it is now sat overnight and it's ready for me to basically put together. There's not a lot left to put together, but the one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a simple top to this. The way this is built, you don't need a big thick like 3/4 inch or even 1/2 inch plywood top for this because the legs of the table saw are resting on these edges. So the top's not going to help, but I'm going to go ahead and just put a piece of masonite across the top of this just to help keep from sawdust falling down through it, and that's really the only reason. Before I get too much further with that, I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to go ahead and mount the casters to it.
Put it up to the top. How did I do this? This has got to be, looks like 1 inch. You ever have one of these projects that you just, either your brain's not in it or you're just not paying attention to it? Because I just keep messing up with this. I'm liking how it's turning out, except for now it's too short. So I've got to figure out, and I think the easiest would be add 1 inch to the bottom where the casters attach. Try that again.
Oh yeah. That's better. That's what I need right there. So although it's not really necessary, I'm going to put a little lip around here that'll just help secure and make sure that the table saw stays on the table. Okay, so basically, after putting it together wrong and having to take it all apart and put it back together, then staining it and forgetting to wipe the stain off and having to then rework all that to try to save it, and then after all that I made it too short and had to build blocks to raise it up. Other than that, I think it turned out quite well. I think the main thing that you really need to understand is don't give up. You know, I'm still learning. I screw up like you would not, as you can tell, I screw up a lot, but it doesn't stop me from finishing. So that's a big thing. Finish. Go for it and be proud of it because you made it. Hey, thanks for watching. Oh, and if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section below. And check out the merch store. That helps support the channel, and I really appreciate that. And in the meantime, well, I'll see you soon.